everybody, welcome to a new episode of Jurge Ryan Video Games. I am your host, George.
I am the other host, Ryan.
We got news.
Lots of news.
We got games. We got games that are coming out. Games are fucking wild. I tell you what.
I think you've done something. You've snorted something today.
We're gonna go. We got a lot of news to cover.
Yeah, we got a lot.
But not a lot of games to talk about. Because we talked about last episode, it's really slim pickings this month, unless you like The Division. So let's start with news. News that leaked ahead of this recording, which is incredibly convenient for us. The news of Final Fantasy XV's release date leaked through GameSpot and then GameStop. So, Final Fantasy XV, formerly known as Final Fantasy Versus 13, has had its release date leaked by GameSpot and GameStop. The date is September 30th, 2015. Reports also confirm that there will be a new playable demo releasing tonight. That is March 30th. Final Fantasy Versus 13 was originally revealed in 2006 as a PS3 exclusive and was part of the Fabula Nova Crystallis subseries with Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy Type 0. Ryan, you don't care about Final Fantasy, do you?
No. I've played 13.
Oh, so you're a big fan of the Fabula Nova Crystallis.
Big fan of 13. I played like the first 2 chapters and then I stopped because it's kind of boring. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care either, but I'm always excited. I want to love Final Fantasy. I desperately want to love Final Fantasy. I started playing 6 last year.
Really?
Yeah, and I played like an hour and a half of it, and I thought, no, 3 hours, and I thought it was fantastic. But the port I was playing as a PS1 port, and the load times are god-awful. And the version that's on the Virtual Console for the Wii U, which is a console I own and could perhaps play it on, is the GBA version. And when people say it's good, the colors don't look as sharp because it's a GBA. And the PC port is the mobile port, and it looks god-awful.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, the Wii U has like a color correction thing for GBA games.
I don't know, man. I haven't tried it because their NES and Super Nintendo emulation is pretty shit, if you ask me. But, yeah. I don't know.
I've heard the DS one is pretty good.
There's a DS version?
There's a DS version, yeah. I heard that was solid.
I don't know, man. There's so many ports of Final Fantasy VI and all.
6 is the one I definitely want to try the most.
Because that's the one where everyone's like, this is the one.
Yeah.
If you're going to play 1, this is the one. So yeah, Final Fantasy 15 is finally coming out.
This year.
It's almost been 10 years since it's been announced.
As a different game.
As a different completely game. Completely new director. A lot of probably a different complete staff. But yeah, I'm sure they're going to announce other stuff at this event. I don't know.
World ends with you too. Please.
Yeah, Tetsuya Nomura's...
Love of God.
You're right. Tetsuya Nomura's like, I'm working on Final Fantasy 7, Kingdom Hearts 3, and the world ends with you 2.
People will be like, what? What's that?
Oh, man.
But I'll be like, yay.
I
love that game.
I feel like that would be a huge... That's what people want. And Square Enix is not going to get
the most annoying thing is when they did the port for the iOS, which was actually good, it ended with a teaser for a sequel. If you beat the game, it would say 7 more days and then have a picture of a brand new character. And then nothing came out of it. At
one point, when iOS updated, that game became unplayable, and I'm not sure if Square patched it or if it's just fucked forever now.
Wow.
I'm not sure, but that was definitely a thing that happened. At one point, that thing was completely unplayable. Also, this month, earlier, like the 3rd of March, I think like a week after we recorded, Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct. A lot of stuff was announced, so we're just gonna go. First,
most important,
Game Freak has a new game. It is Pokemon Y. No, it is a game about horses. You got horses, you play solitaire, you bet your life savings on these horses, and they run for you.
It's happening. The combination of my 2 favorite things, horses, gambling, it's the same... Wait, what?
So yes, this is a smaller game. Looks like a $20 release. You play solitaire, and you somehow take care of... There's horses somewhere in the mix. Cute... It looks like the art style from the art director of the WarioWare series. That reminds me a lot of it. I'm not sure if he's involved with it, because it looks pretty spot on like his style. But that's the thing. Kirby. There's another fucking Kirby game coming out for 3DS, because God knows Nintendo's putting out these 2 consoles off the pasture, so we gotta have a bunch of Kirby games, because god dang it.
Kirby Planet Robobot.
He's a so he's Kirby, he's got a robot suit now.
He also can be a doctor, and that's pretty much it.
That's all I know. The rest is a Kirby game, but
it comes out in May.
It comes out in June, Ryan.
June, okay,
June
sorry.
10th, but
June 10th.
still really soon.
And with a whole bunch of amiibos to boot.
Oh, yeah. Which is probably the only good, cool thing about
Yeah.
this. You got a Waddle Dee amiibo, which
Waddle
is
Dee
pretty
amiibo.
damn good. But, yeah. Like I said, I don't like Kirby games. I think they're...
The last Kirby game was okay, I thought. I don't really want to pick this one up.
I think we need to take Kirby, and we need to take him back, and we just need to put him out of his misery. That's all. Or her. Is it official? Is he a he?
I think Kirby's referred to as a he. That's the pronouns.
You
used
gotta
for
watch
it.
Kirby right back at you.
Yeah, I
It's
know
the
that to be.
official canon of that.
Oh, boy.
Also, Project Guard, which was once a tech demo that was in Nintendo they were working on, is now Star Fox Guard. And it'll be coming with the physical release of Star Fox Zero. It adds a new character to the Star Fox canon named Grippy. Slippy's uncle?
Or grandpa or something.
Slippy's older person that is related to him. He has a compound, right? And robots are coming in and fucking his shit up. So your job is to make traps and have security cameras to stop these Rob-looking ass robots.
That was Reggie's exact quote.
That's exactly what happened. The game doesn't look very interesting, to be honest with you. It looks like they had this and they needed to add more value to Star Fox because people were not really impressed with it.
It looks exactly like the demo.
I don't remember it.
I remember the demo, and it looks exactly like that.
E3 2014?
I think it was earlier than that. I think it was like the first.
Yeah, I think
Wii
so.
U.
Like stuff where hey, we have this console, we're messing around with stuff, and now it's over. So here it is.
And I mean, I knew it would come out eventually. This is just a weird form for it, I think.
I mean, it's free if you're getting Star Fox Zero,
Which
so
everyone is.
I fucking love that it is the year 2016, and like 3 years ago, everyone was like, "We need a new Star Fox game, Nintendo! Come on!" And it's here. It's literally Star Fox 64 2, and nobody cares. No one cares.
Oh boy, that's a shame.
Great, it's good. I'll probably buy it. I already have it pre-ordered.
And you'll get Star Fox Guard for free.
Oh man,
that's the one you need to review.
Nintendo is in an interesting position where they have to make it seem like they're adding a lot of value to their products because people aren't buying them.
Yeah.
It was like with Bayonetta 2, they packed in that first game in for you, and with Mario Kart 8, they threw in a free game. It was either Pikmin or was it Wonderful 101 or I can't remember.
It was Wonderful 101, Game & Wario, and then
Pikmin 3,
New Super Mario Bros.
And Pikmin
U,
3.
And Pikmin 3.
Yeah, because that's how I got it. So I don't know. I don't know about this game. It was delayed.
Quite a bit, actually.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are sleeping on it, but someone on Twitter made a point. There's like, when you think about it, we're all sleeping on a freaking Platinum Cross Miyamoto joint. Because this is the next Miyamoto project. This is a Miyamoto project.
Yeah, and Platinum's working on it.
And Platinum's working on it.
So, it should be good?
It's so weird. It's so weird how it was shown off at E3 last year, and all interest disappeared. Moving on. Star Fox Zero's amiibo compatibility has also been revealed. You can play as a classic Star Fox Polygonal R-Wing guy.
Yeah, because we're really stretching the amiibo use.
Hey man, you can play as the little Walker one that was from Star Fox 2.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But the biggest news, Ryan, Rhythm Heaven is coming to America as Rhythm Heaven Megamix. The President of the United States was like, Nintendo, we need to stop this. We got to give the people what they want. It is my last action as President of the United States, and it is here. For those who don't know, Rhythm Heaven Megamix is a compilation of a lot of the games and stuff from the old Rhythm Heaven games from the DS and Wii.
Which never really came out in America for the most part.
I mean, I think there might have been one in there that didn't, but the DS one definitely came out. And I think the Wii one also came out. I think there was one in there that didn't come out here.
I thought there was... The Game Boy Advance one didn't come out.
That's the one, yes.
And I think that's also in this, too.
Yes, it is also in this. That's probably the best... That's a damn good 3DS release. In what is, apart from Pokemon, not the heaviest 3DS. I mean, you got fucking Hyrule Warriors Legends, which is a disaster on 3DS.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, Rhythm Heaven's coming out, and surprise, surprise, there's also a new Paper Mario coming out this year.
It's finally here!
And it's not an RPG, I think.
Sticker Star 2.
Alright, so let's back up for a second. Paper Mario Color Splash will arrive on the Wii U later this year. Little is known about it. While it looks like it shares similarities with Super Paper Mario and Paper Mario Sticker Star, I think it is too early to tell definitively if it's...
No, it is.
All right, Ryan.
It is, because we saw a map overworld, and that just says so much bad things about this game, because it's an RPG. An RPG cannot have an over... I hate Sticker Star, George. You know this.
I wonder how... I wasn't really into the Nintendo scene when that game came out. Was it immediately that people realized this game is garbage, or did it take a little bit?
At first, everyone was like, this could be an interesting concept. And then it came out, everyone bought it, and they were like, what the fuck?
Because that was also a Miyamoto joint. But for the worse.
Here's the thing. It was going... Because people liked Super Paper Mario, the
platformer one.
But people were like, we really want a return to form. And when Paper Mario 3DS was first revealed, it was going to be that. But Miyamoto went up to it and was like, let's change it up a little bit. And he pitched the sticker idea to him. And because it was Miyamoto, they had to do it.
Yeah.
And then it became this disaster of a game. And this is it again, but on the Wii U, George.
I don't know.
The 1,000-Year Door is so good.
I know. It's really weird that... It's so weird that we're ending probably the Wii U with a Paper Mario game.
Which I've wanted since...
But it's not going to be good.
No, it will not.
It's been a long time since the... Well, I mean, there was Paper Jam, but that was more a Mario and Luigi game.
I don't think that counted.
So, whatever. Also, the Fire Emblem Cross Shin Megami Tensei game finally has a North release date and title. It is... I'm going to mess this up. It is... What is it again? Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp #FE. There you go, I made it.
You did it. That was almost perfect.
It's coming out June 24th. It has a physical release, which for some reason I thought wasn't going to happen.
I mean, with the fail frame thing, that made me worried about that too. But are we the only people excited for this game? Because you and me we've been more in this.
So the concept was thrown out like really early in the Wii U's life cycle.
Yes.
Which, when we were talking about the Wii U, isn't very long ago. That was like 2 years ago. But they showed that. I was like, hey, we're doing this thing. And everyone was really excited about it. And then they showed the trailer. Yeah, it disappeared for a long time. They re-showed it, and people were like, this is not what I was picturing in my head. It's super anime. It's literally just like, you are an idol, and you're like, when you go take on this, like, you go into this musical performance mode, you fight. It's super anime. And It's got a lot of, like, original music from, like, Japanese artists and stuff in it. Like, it's not what people want it at all. Like, it's not really Fire Emblem. It's more Shin Megami, that's for sure.
It's Fire Emblem in the way that
the character,
basically the idols, the playable characters all like interact with the Fire Emblem character from like another dimension. So like the main character, his character that he interacts with is Chrom from Awakening, but Chrom looks kind of different. He looks like a shadow necromancer thing. And basically, they fuse with the Fire Emblem characters during their battles. Their J-pop battles. Mm-hmm. And that's the connection, really.
Yes. And
so it's loosely strung together, kind of. But it looks super interesting.
And these kids have, like, normal... Like, you play as teenagers or whatever, and these kids go to school and stuff. It's very Persona. I think it's way more Persona than it is either of those two franchises. Like, you have this day thing where you hang out in school and stuff, and then at night you go fight. I don't know. I think it looks super interesting. I'm totally down for it. It looks awesome. But yeah, June, I'm excited for that game.
I am very excited.
That's really all the Nintendo news from that Direct. Yeah, I mean, there's Monster Hunter. There's a new Monster Hunter game coming out. I mean, that's really exciting. That's a damn good 3DS game, I'm sure, but not mine.
Yeah, neither of us are really into
It's not my jam. So that's all the news from the Nintendo front. And there's also Uncharted 4, which... At the time we were recording last time, it was going to come out in April, but it has now been delayed again to May 10th, 2016.
Not too far.
No, it's a few weeks, but it's still kind of disappointing. I don't know, just the month seems far. It was the back end of May, I believe. I mean, April originally. And, I don't know, moving it, I don't know, it just looks weird, you know? It just looks disappointing. But whatever. But yeah, Sony said that they... pushed it because of manufacturing concerns, which is a bizarre reason. That's weird. But whatever. Coming out in May. I'm excited for it, kind of. I don't know. I have this thing with the Uncharted games that I'm excited for them because of the performances and the technology. I don't think like they're the funnest thing to play, but I feel like they're pretty damn good polished video games, and that's really what I like about them. The story is alright, but the performances are really good, and they're always a spectacle to look at and play. So yeah, Uncharted 4. So that's like the minor league news. That's like this compared to this news. So Kotaku's Patrick Klepek ran a story on Kotaku that his sources collaborate that Sony is working on a half-step iteration of the PlayStation 4, a PlayStation 4.5, if you will. This happened. So Patrick Klepek and some other writers at Kotaku confirmed with their sources and people at GDC, this year's GDC, that this is the thing that's happening, and that they were at GDC talking to developers about the product and perhaps bringing their game to the platform. So here's a quote. Based on conversations with developers who have spoken with Sony, this PS4.5 will include an upgraded GPU, both to support high-end 4K resolution for games and add more processing power that can enhance the games supported by PlayStation VR, the headset Sony will launch this fall. This news comes on the heels of Xbox's Phil Spencer talking about the possibility of an upgradable Xbox at Xbox's spring showcase in San Francisco. So Ryan,
yes.
I mean, I don't know how to feel about this. I don't really care that much, to be honest. I mean, it's a big deal in terms of the history of consoles and how you could pretty much count that every 4 or 5 years there'd be a giant shift. And I don't really know. I don't think I care about this story much, but I think it's interesting because it's so big.
I mean, what's the difference between it's a higher power, but like what's going to be the price, or like what's the incentive to really buy this?
So the new,
because not everyone has a 4K TV, and not like all console games are optimized right now to run that.
They're not even optimized to run 1080p in some cases.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that's why
I feel like this is a weird step to make. I mean, this would make sense for like 4K movies, which are getting more popular, but I don't know if this would be best for games.
And the thing is, the PS4 can run 4K video and photos, not games. But the thing is, not even like the strongest PCs can do 4K gaming. Like, it's a fucking huge amount of power.
I feel like this would be more of like to optimize it for their headset thing.
That's what I thought. Like, because like when they did with the Xbox 360 Slim, there was a breaker box for the Kinect that was already built in. But then why would you be courting developers? And don't get me wrong, Sony has all the reason in the world to double down on 4K because they are a company that owns an entertainment business that you would imagine. House of Cards, which is a Netflix show but is produced by Sony, is in 4K on Netflix. But all of this is really confusing. There are a lot of people saying like this seems like a betrayal, kind of, because again, it's going against everything that we know about consoles. The thing was, like, if you bought a PlayStation 3 in 2006 and it still worked somehow up until 2013, you could play The Last of Us on it. And that was like the thing with consoles. Like, you invest in this thing, and then you're good for like so or so years. But I don't think, like, if this was true, I'd probably buy it. Probably.
I mean, with the NX coming out this year, basically,
probably. More than likely.
This is definitely going to be a really interesting year in terms of consoles, because I really believe this. I mean, it is.
No, this is fucking real.
This is real?
This has to be real. Like, there's sources and, like, all this
stuff.
Like,
pretty locked down?
This is pretty locked. Like, after this story ran in, the Wall Street Journal was like, hold on a second. Let us confirm this as well. And they're like, nope, yep, this is happening.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that
So, because this story blew up big.
So, do you think this was going to be their big reveal for E3?
This has to be. I mean, you'd imagine. I mean, and it's also, the timing is almost crazy. Like, the week before, I guess, or like 2 weeks before, Phil Spencer was talking about, this Xbox thing, we might be able to upgrade it. And
so, do you think it's possible that this year we could get a new Nintendo console
and
new
hardware
versions of the Xbox and the PS?
That
system?
sounds like what's happening, and it's so weird because this E3 feels like it was going to be a quiet, middle E3. We got software, stuff's finally coming out, and I mean, at one hand, it kind of makes sense because out of all these generations, it feels like these consoles which I'm only a console gamer, I don't have PCs, but it feels like these machines are already really underpowered in terms of third-party support and stuff. Like there's a huge difference between like a high or an ultra running game on PC and a console game. Like,
I think the way technology is moving is, now everyone gets a new phone every year or two, and and technology is always getting better. Like, your phones can record 4K video now.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Mine does too.
So maybe that's going to come to consoles now, or maybe the console industry is wanting to try to pump out a new console or a newer version of the console every 2 years or so. Because Nintendo already did that with the new 3DS.
It did, and it totally worked, and I have no idea how they got away with it.
I mean, you can only run Xenoblade Chronicles on it. You can only somewhat run Hyrule Warriors Legend on it.
Yeah.
Well, on the normal one, apparently it is just... that makes me so mad.
See, and here's the problem, right? How serendipitous is that Hyrule Legends comes out on the 3DS, and it is the prime example of the worst situation for this, right? We have a game that came out, and yes, it runs on both platforms, but the older platform is severely handicapped.
So when The Last of Us 2 comes out, it'll be like, it's best on the 4K
or whatever the hell
PlayStation,
it's called.
And then you have the regular PlayStation 4.
Which it'll run, but
it can run, but it runs it at like this horrible, choppy, muddy thing. Because it's not meant to be on that. It just still technically runs.
And that's like the worst example, but you have someone like Nintendo who just puts that game out there. And I don't know. I mean...
This is going to be a very interesting E3.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean,
I was excited for Nintendo, but now I'm really looking forward to everyone.
Interesting.
I'm ready for the return of Hoop God.
Oh, man. It's interesting, but it's not something I don't really want this.
I just want to see how
I just want to see games.
I want to see the company's message to why the consumers should buy
Like, it's interesting news.
That's very interesting for me.
It's also, like, the most, like, crazy, like, shift in consoles, like, ever. If this is true...
Because, usually we get stuff like this, but only for, like, peripherals. Like, the Kinect was the next big thing.
Right, we have some...
The PlayStation Move was the next best thing. The PlayStation Move Playbook was the next best thing.
Man, that thing.
Oh, boy. But now it's being turned into consoles, and that's super weird.
I just don't... And the whole phone thing, like... The phone makes more sense that you would upgrade it regularly, because that's you can justify that easily in your head, because, like, this is the thing I use all the time. A console is a luxury item, and there are people who like save up and stuff for the place, like, to get their consoles. But maybe this is an attempt to completely change that thought.
I mean, with tablets, those get added real fast.
It's true, but people don't buy them they don't sell well. They're not selling well because people aren't willing to upgrade as often.
That's true. I don't know. I still see a lot of people with tablets. I don't know how like old those are because they all look the same to me.
I don't know,
I'm
man.
a tablet racist.
I don't think it's... I don't know.
It's super
all I'm
interesting
saying
news.
is if it would happen, I would buy one probably.
Well, you're weak.
But yeah. But then the also news is that, from sources, is that this is an attempt from Sony to keep the PlayStation 4 at $400. Because that's what it was before until the price dropped last year. And if we're talking about a $50 up, that can't be a lot of power.
Not anything substantial.
Unless PS4 parts are already that cheap to manufacture, and they can actually be selling this thing at $300, and then there's a $100 disparity there. I don't know, man. I don't know. This shit's fucking wild. Anyways, along with that PlayStation news, is that PlayStation VR finally has a release date and a price. PlayStation VR costs $399 and will arrive on October 2016. The PlayStation VR, of course, is PlayStation's response to virtual reality, such as Oculus's Oculus Rift and HTC's HTC Vive. The package, the $399 package, will come with everything you need except a PlayStation camera, which you do need. It also won't come with PlayStation Move controllers, which you don't need, but a lot of games will require them or allow you to use them to become more immersed, to be more jacked in. So yeah, they also said there will be about 50 launch titles when it comes out.
Do they have any idea of what those will be yet, or?
I mean, it sounds like Res Infinite's a lock.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Super Hypercube is a lock. It sounds like Thumper is a lock. I mean, there are stuff. I doubt... The weird thing is there's only one first party working on a game, and that's Riggs. I mean, you have some other tech demo stuff made by Sony London. Riggs is made by Guerrilla Cambridge, who are the guys that made Killzone Mercenary and Little Big Planet PSP. I don't know if that game will be ready for launch, but you would think so, right? Because you need a full game.
Yeah.
And there is stuff like Rez, but Rez will also work on regular PlayStation. And it's also an old game. It's pretty much a remaster on VR. So, I don't know. PlayStation VR, as someone who owns a PlayStation and is kind of interested in VR, I don't know if I'd pick it up at launch, because there isn't the software to support it right now. But it is cool. We finally have a release date for this thing.
You see, I just don't know how a console... Because with the PCs, the Oculus, you need a really powerful system to run that.
We're back to the whole
We're
thing.
back to that again.
Is this PS4 strong enough to do VR?
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't really looked into the Morbius... What's it called?
Morpheus is what it used to be called. Now it's just PlayStation VR.
Oh, okay. Because I haven't really looked into it because I thought it would be like... I thought it would be something that'd keep getting delayed. I honestly did not expect
like
it
it's
to come
happening.
out this year.
It's the whole VR stuff is weird, right? Because virtual reality in general has this stigma of being this futuristic thing that we cannot obtain. We keep trying to, and now the Oculus is out. We are in a pre-Oculus. The only game we play now is Lucky's Tale. That's the only game we play now.
Oh man, you got me there.
It's the only game
I'm playing it right now, man.
Lucky's Tale. So yeah, we are in a... Like, the Vive comes out the week after we were recording. Like, this stuff is happening, and it's weird, right? Because it's happening, but, like... Because when PlayStation does this, you would imagine it's going to be a big push. Because PlayStation
They have to. They need better marketing in general, because they really need to push all their efforts into this.
Right, because HTC and Oculus, they're doing... Like, we're playing... They're all playing the long game. They're like, we're going to put this thing out. We're not going to, like, have giant marketing and stuff. Like... We're going to put it out. We're going to have developers make stuff for it. We'll see where it goes.
We'll have the games sell this, pretty much.
I mean, kind of. I mean, it's mostly like the technology, really. Because
I've seen a lot of games, and they're super interesting.
I mean, Oculus VR, I saw like a fucking 11-hour stream with Giant Bomb playing stuff. And, you know, you have stuff like Adrift come out, which is the biggest game for it. And it's just like, it's okay. It's all right. I think it's better in VR, but it's only because it's in VR. So, you know, with Sony, you'd feel like Sony is really going to attack this. Like, okay, this is a giant product. We're PlayStation. We're adopting this virtual reality stuff, which you might have heard of, consumer. And we are adopting it, so you know that it is going to be the real shit. So, I feel like when PlayStation VR comes out, you'd see this stuff really hit the mainstream. If it does successful. If you're releasing a new PS4 the same year you're releasing this thing, I have no idea what the market looks like.
Oh boy.
At that point, right? Because you are telling the consumer, hey, you don't need a new PlayStation to run this VR thing, but there is the informed...
But it's suggested.
There is the informed consumer is all like, well, if you're releasing a new thing, and I know that VR is it requires a lot of performance, like, that stuff is... picturing the game twice, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's insane, and it's got to run 60s, like the minimum almost.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be a high frame rate, or else it doesn't work.
Yeah, because it's VR, and it's right in front of you. It's supposed to...
It has to be real.
It has to be real. You can't be running... You can't even be running 30, even though I'm fine with 30.
Yeah, they're like...
But if it's in that form, it cannot be 30. It has to be 60.
Yeah. Like, it's... Yeah.
Or else you're...
Maybe for third-person experiences, but...
Would that work well for VR?
I mean, there's already a lot. One of the big launch games for the Oculus is a third-person game, and like Lucky's Tale is a third-person game.
Oh yeah, I guess it is.
And Insomniac Games is making a first-party game for Oculus that is a third-party game. But yeah, PlayStation VR is a thing. It's happening. The thing I would be most excited for VR, because I have a small TV. I just moved out on my own, and I have a 32-inch TV. And the thing that I would find interesting about PlayStation VR is that they have a cinematic mode, which is just you're playing your PlayStation VR, but it's just working as a monitor. Like, you're not in VR.
Kind of like the Microsoft HoloLens. Well, I don't know.
The HoloLens is a whole thing that is
I know.
a fucking weird fucking young Conker young Conker dropping those beats. I don't fucking...
Oh boy.
But so yes, it is the thing, like, it's like a virtual living room kind of thing. Like, okay, I have a big screen in the headset because it's in my face, so it's simulating that I have a giant...
So now you don't need a big TV.
Now you don't need a TV, and that's what I'm interested in. But, I had to try it on. Like, how good is the resolution on that?
How am I going to feel wearing this thing for...
That's also
for an entire, like, if I want to binge watch a show.
Or something. Yeah, exactly. Because there's a Netflix app as well. So it's like, I have to try it on before that's the thing that excites me about VR. But I would have to try it on first. So I'm going to pre-order.
They really have to, like, bring this out to, like, Best Buys and
Absolutely.
GameStops to really show people how good this is.
Especially because, again...
Because even when you see, like, YouTubers or people... at shows doing this, you see them going like, "Ooh, cool," but it's like, what's that like?
Yeah, people on websites talk about like that stuff does terrible traffic for them because it's hard. Like people can't engage with it when they don't understand it. It's just like you telling like, "I'm telling you, this stuff is crazy," and you're just like,
"It was right here."
Yeah, so I don't know.
It was like I was in a car. The door closed.
Yeah, so PlayStation VR, it's happening. It's weird that it's happening. It's really weird. It's really weird. It doesn't feel like it's out there. But again, it's because people don't have... Maybe they're not being as aggressive with the stuff as PlayStation's probably going to be. So, probably with the last big piece of news, apart from the depressing stuff we got at the end of this, is that the Nikkei, which is a giant respected publication, reports that Nintendo's partners who make hardware, that they have stopped producing Wii U's. People like Foxconn, I think.
Yeah, Foxconn makes
those
their
fucking
stuff.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, that horrible place that we don't talk about.
That horrible company. Yeah, it sounds like they're not making any more hardware. Nintendo then released a statement that was incredibly PR and did not give us a straight answer. They said, "This isn't an announcement from our company," the spokesperson added. "From the next quarter and the quarter thereafter as well, production of the Wii U is scheduled to continue." Which is incredibly, like, are we talking about fiscal quarters? Are we talking about actual quarters? What are we talking about here?
I think this news makes sense.
Oh, it makes 100%.
It makes a lot of sense.
Especially because I'm guaranteeing you they're sitting on a bunch of Wii U's that have not sold.
Yeah. I mean, they only sell, like, every time I read a report, it always sells, like, 4,000 units a month.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Which isn't very good at all.
Like, it sounds like... If this report is true,
plus the 3DS sells still 20,000 units a month, but the Wii U sells only 4,000.
Yeah, that's not moving a lot, man.
And the 3DS is old as hell.
Like I said, Sony is pushing more Vitas in Japan, and Splatoon came out. I don't know how those numbers are now. I don't know, but
that was a recent thing I read recently.
Yeah, Splatoon really helped its move units in Japan, so. I don't know, but if this report's probably true. This is just Nintendo getting up ahead of it, being like, because this does not look good. Like,
especially when they don't have a physical product to replace it yet.
Right, especially when you're still releasing software. Mm-hmm. Like, you'd imagine they're going to do a huge push for Paper Mario when that comes out. There's still, at this point, there's still a Zelda game coming out.
That we know
about. At this point,
it's
coming out for Wii U. So
it's definitely cut up for Wii U.
You obviously want to get in front of this, which makes this PlayStation 4.5 stuff even crazier, because if you're Sony, and now the public is armed with the knowledge that, don't buy a PlayStation or an Xbox, because there's scuttlebutt that they're making a new one, so don't buy it. So you obviously want to get in front of this, because you want consumers to actually buy your stuff. You don't want your one nerdy-ass family relative to be like, you shouldn't buy that, because...
the Nintendo DSi comes out next week.
Yeah,
you gotta be ahead of that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna say this report's probably true, especially because Nikkei has been right about all their Nintendo leaks. So, but it doesn't mean a lot.
They have plenty of Wii U's in stock, so they don't
100%.
Need to be making more.
There's a bunch of bundles that I'm sure haven't, probably from a year past that they didn't sold.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, this makes total sense. Final news is we had a lot of layoffs in March from some significant studios. So, early in March, Microsoft closed Lionhead Studios, the creators of Fable, the movies, and Black and White. They were working on Fable Legends, which was a game that was going to be a free-play game for Xbox One and PC, and they are now closed. Fable Legends, I'll tell you what, that game, man... Jesus.
Did that come out?
No.
Good.
That game was announced before the Xbox One was revealed. After it was revealed at Gamescom after the reveal event.
Huh.
It was fucking nuts. That game's been in development forever. And I was always joking, this game's going to come out and no one's going to care. But I didn't think they were going to close the studio. this feels like mismanagement. Like, I'm just saying, like, if this could have been avoided by kind of saying, like, yo, this game, like, the signs were there. This game has troubled development. Like, we should cancel this, restructure, maybe let some people go, but we can keep the studio afloat if we move to something else. And they didn't. And then they hit a point because they were, if you remember, Xbox had this whole campaign last year. It was like, this is the best Xbox lineup in history with Tomb Raider, Halo, and Fable Legends was in that mix. If you go to a Target right now, there's a video, like some B-roll playing that, like Xbox, and it has the Fable guy next to Lara Croft and Master Chief. That game was scheduled for last holiday, and when they missed that milestone, that like this is it, that was it. Like, that's fucked. I feel like this truly was a mismanagement. They should have canceled that game early 2015. Because that game was all over their marketing, like it's coming out this year, and it didn't. And I was like, what? What is happening? And the weird thing about this cancellation, the game was in beta while they closed the studio. So there are people who played this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are people who played this game, and it's not a thing anymore.
Good.
It's crazy. That game looked...
I feel bad for the studio. I'm glad the game did not come out.
Especially for a studio like Lionhead. They're a big deal. Like, at one point... back in the 360 days, Microsoft, towards the end of the life cycle of the 360, wasn't playing, like, big bets. Like, they were like, we got Forza, we got Halo, we got Fable. Those are our three things that you know us for. Yeah,
Fable was their big thing back then.
Fable was a fucking huge deal.
Uh-huh.
And then they did Fable the Journey.
Everyone's favorite Fable game.
Well, before that, they were messing around with Milo and Kate for the fucking Kinect.
Oh, boy.
Remember that? The little boy?
Oh, I remember Milo.
Milo.
Everyone's favorite. He could scan in your skateboard, and then you could use it.
Sure.
Everyone did that with their Kinect.
But yeah, so they had that, and then they had this thing, and that was just fucking... it sucks to have a studio so long and, historic.
They're probably going to make a new studio, I would imagine.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Or at least move on to...
Microsoft is in such huge flux right now. I have no idea what's going on. Especially, you would think if they are going through this, okay, we're making because they're doing this whole PC and Xbox. Those games are going to be connected. If you buy a first-party title, you'll have it on PC and Xbox. They're moving this way. And so you would imagine, if they are moving this way, you want to keep those studios, because now what you're focusing on is like, all right, we're going to sell software. So we need to have these studios to pump up that software. And so this is bizarre, including that they closed another first-party studio, granted a smaller one. They closed Press Play, I believe is what they're called. Yeah, Press Play. They made Max and the Curse of Brotherhood, which was a launch window-ish game for the Xbox One. They're working on a new game called Project Knoxville. I have no idea what it was about. They were a really small studio. I don't think anyone knows about them, but they bought them after that game, and now they're dead.
Huh.
Which begs the question, why even purchase them then? It makes no sense. And now they're dead. So especially with this whole, like, we're moving with software, this decision makes very little sense. Speaking of first-party studios being closed down, Sony closed down Evolution Studios, the creators of MotorStorm and Drive Club. This decision would have made sense, I feel like, in 2014 or early 2015 when Drive Club came out.
Yeah.
And was a fucking disaster after being delayed a year. But then the game came out, and it actually sold like 2 million, 3 million copies. So it did well, and people like it. That game is fucking good.
Yeah, my coworkers loved that game. They would not shut up about it for
that game is gorgeous. It's incredible looking. And so I thought they were in the clear. I thought they were good. They were working on a VR title. They were working on Drive Club VR for PlayStation VR.
Really?
Yeah, that was the thing. And then out of nowhere, like, nope, we're closing the studio down. And it's confusing. Well, it's confusing that they made Drive Club. Because Sony is a studio that at the time owned the #1 racing studio, which was Polyphony with Gran Turismo. Now that's changed because Polyphony was mismanaged and took way too long to make their games. And so having your studio, it made sense at one point that, hey, this guy is making a fun racing game in MotorStorm, and these other guys are making the serious racing game. But then they made Drive Club, and then like, okay, so now you have two competing racing games that are pretty much the same thing. And then that thing came out, and it was troubled, and it was delayed by a whole year. And so it didn't make any sense for Evolution to go this way, and now closing them after they fixed the game, kind of, and maybe giving them another shot, it makes even less sense. I don't know.
Yeah, this one's definitely out of nowhere, I feel.
It's weird. It sucks because Drive Club was a good game after they fixed it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and N-Space closed. Few people know who N-Space is. Do you remember Geist for the GameCube, Ryan?
Geist, that sounds so familiar.
It was a second party title. It was about Ghost. You were a ghost man.
N-Space made other stuff, didn't they?
They did. They made a lot of licensed titles. What else? They worked on some other big projects. I can't remember.
Because I know I've played something with them before.
They made a lot of ports and stuff. A lot of licensed titles and ports. But yeah, they're closed. The latest game they made was Sword Coast Legends or something, which was kind of like a Pillars of Eternity like game. That didn't do well for them. Now they're gone. Rest in peace.
They made Heroes of Ruin with Square Enix. That was a big. That was a big 3DS game they were pushing for a while, and then it came out.
That was like launch window-ish.
Yeah, it came out that summer.
I remember now.
Yeah, and that was That was a very ambitious game for the 3DS because it revolved around playing online. It was like an MMO,
I remember this
basically.
now. I remember this now. Yeah.
It didn't sell super great,
No, I don't think
and I didn't really like the controls that much because it was weird playing a game like that on such a little clamshell device, the first 3DS.
Yeah, that would have been the OG at that point. But yeah, they're dead. They've been around for like almost
1994.
Yeah, they've been around for a long fucking time. I've seen that logo around the block.
Mm-hmm.
So that sucks. Yeah, a lot of layoffs this month. Yeah, that sucks. Really sucks, especially because we lost a lot of first-party titles, and especially when we're going through this thing where going back to the Evolution thing, it makes even less sense because I'm gonna tell you what, Sony is killing it with those first-party titles. You know, all those fucking hot first-party titles that are not coming out. It's just bizarre that they're killing off these first-party studios, but whatever. So yeah, that's all the news. We're gonna take a break and come back and talk about some of the few games we did play in March, and then talk about what we're looking forward to, and maybe some other stuff we've been messing around with. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Alright, let's talk about the video games that came out in March. It was slim pickings if you didn't like The Division, which was the game that really consumed the month of March. So, let's talk about The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Let's start there. That came out early, yes.
That came out on the 4th.
It came out way
March.
early. So, Ryan, tell me about Twilight Princess. It's an old game. It's new now. What do you think?
So, Twilight Princess was the first Zelda game that I really played. Because I messed around with Ocarina and I messed around with the original Zelda, but it was... My mind was not smart enough to really understand the finesse that is a Zelda game.
Right.
So Twilight Princess was the first one I played where I was like, I want to really try this and really get into it. And I fell in love with it right away. It was amazing. And it's really underrated. I mean, as far as the HD version goes, I think it's cool that it's out there again and that people can give it another shot, because they definitely have changed and fixed a few things. Because I think the main problem with it was a lot of the layouts of the UI and a few of the more fetch questy stuff. But man, it's hard to say. It's definitely not
Has it aged well?
It definitely has aged well. Well, the graphics, the overhaul they did wasn't very they kept the style of the game, so it has this very GameCube-esque style, but everything looks more detailed. But a lot of people don't like how it still looks. The models they haven't really upgraded in the same ways that the N64 Zelda games were upgraded when they came to the 3DS. And
also, it's not a big studio they gave the job to.
Oh no, they gave it to a small studio.
Yeah,
they gave it to a tiny guy.
They made Funky Barn,
everyone's favorite.
Yeah,
but it's definitely super. I think everyone should give it a try. Basically, the main problem a lot of people have with it, I feel, is the the opening of the game, because it is kind of slow.
People say it's long and slow.
It takes you about an hour to really get playing, but I never really minded that, because you really get, like, a sense of, like... presence in the world, and, like, the characters around you, and then everything just kind of opens up, and you can just kind of explore this, like, vast field. I mean, there's not really much to do in, like, the vastness of Hyrule Field in the game, besides, like, collect bugs, which are needed to upgrade stuff later. But it's more about the story and about...
I hear the dungeons are good, too.
The dungeons are great. The first dungeon I really don't like, though. You basically have to go around and, like, save monkeys that have been, like, kidnapped, and they help you, like, swing over to the boss. It's very weird. But the second dungeon is super cool. You're in, like, you're in Death Mountain, and you use, like, the iron boots, and there's a lot of magnet-based puzzles with them, and you have to, like, stick to the walls and all that, and that's one of the best dungeons ever. And then my favorite one, though, is a cave towards the end, where you get the little spinner weapon. Have you seen that?
I have. It's in Hyrule Warriors,
It is in Hyrule Warriors, and there's a lot of, like, gliding on the walls, and that is one of the best boss fights ever at the end. It's so cool. And plus, the villain Zant, who's the main antagonist of it, is so much different than, like, your traditional Zelda villain, too. Or even, like, any villain in a video game, because he has this idea of, like, he's been manipulated by Ganondorf, which is, like, the huge spoiler. I mean, it's fucking 10 years old, so who cares?
Is the spoiler that Ganondorf is behind the whole thing?
Yeah.
Fucking
whatever. I mean, who would have guessed it,
Who
right?
would have guessed?
Who would have guessed it?
Dr. whatever the hell his name is, actually Dr. Wily.
Yeah, I mean, who would have guessed? But he praises Ganondorf as, like, his god, and then when his god Ganondorf, like, betrays him and he gets beaten by Link, he throws a tantrum. It's like Star Wars with Kylo Ren. He just goes nuts, and it's like this insane man who's, like, talking to himself and, like, throwing fits. And it's such an interesting villain because it so neatly contradicts or contrasts, I mean, the opening scene where he just storms Hyrule Castle and just kills everyone. Okay. And then towards the end of the game, he's throwing a tantrum because you've beaten him.
Okay, gotcha.
That's why I love him.
That sounds cool.
It is super cool.
You have a flawed villain.
A very flawed villain,
Gotcha.
which I think
cool.
we need more of in all sorts of media, I think. And then, what else can I say about it? I've been all over the place just because...
Has it aged? Well, did you say it's worth picking up now?
If you haven't played it before... Because you can play it on the GameCube and the Wii and the Wii U. I think the Wii U version is definitely the best one to go for. Just because... The controls are better, because it's not waggle controls from the Wii. Because that's what the Wii had, and the button controls are definitely better.
Oh, so you're saying the GameCube version is better than the Wii?
The GameCube version is better than the Wii.
Okay, you said the opposite, I think.
The GameCube version is better than the Wii, but the
Wii U version is the definitive way to play it
is the one way to play it, yeah. As for the extra features they've done for it...
There's that fucking bad extra little area with the amiibo.
Basically, you tap the Wolf Link amiibo to the screen, or to the amiibo spot, and you get teleported to a dungeon.
That's really bad, it looks like.
Because
you play as Wolf Link, right?
Yes.
And you just fight things.
It's basically a reskin of a dungeon that's already in the game. But now you have to fight as Wolf Link.
That sounds awful.
It's something. I mean, it sucks that you have to have the amiibo with it in order to do that.
Yeah.
Other than that, the amiibo support is if you tap in a Link amiibo, you get your arrows refilled once a day. If you tap the Zelda or Sheik amiibo, you get your health replenished. If you tap the Ganondorf amiibo, you get all the enemies do double damage. So there's definitely interesting things to do with the amiibo as compared to some other games that we'll get to later that use amiibo really poorly, I think. The amiibo use is hit or miss, but the game itself is still really solid and really beautiful. And just the atmosphere of, like, the Twilight Zone and the world around it and all the characters who really, like, they evolve with the game. They're not just side characters. It's like a Disney film where they evolve too, just, like, kind of in the background.
Yeah, I shit on this game because I feel like it looks blah, but it does have a unique style. It is dark but twisted in a weird, definitely Japanese way.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed those bits of it, but I don't know. I still don't think I want to get into this game.
People compared a lot to Majora's Mask, which was dark because, the world was ending.
Right.
And you had that physical representation of the world ending as the moon got slower towards you. But with this, it's more about the personal journey of it, because you have to first, kind of stop the twilight from spreading across the world, and thus basically bringing everyone back to life in that process. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it's all about... just kind of stopping Zant and Ganondorf from getting the Triforce and basically doing all this again, but killing you in the process.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like you recommend it if you've never played it and you have a Wii U, try it out, and if you think you want to revisit it if you played it before.
Think it's definitely the most pure kind of Zelda game, because a lot of people say Ocarina of Time, that's the best one. It was really the first one, if you really think about it. And I think
this is where you think of modern Zelda.
Modern Zelda, that is. I think this is, the most pure Zelda experience you will get out there. The other ones have their own twists on it. Wind Waker has its sailing twist on it. Skyward Sword is all about,
flying.
Motion controls and flying. And then there's really not much
else.
I
guess what you're saying, the modernish, because you have these 64 games, and then we have... some Wii games that include Twilight Princess, but Skyward Sword uses motion and stuff and this flying mechanic. And
Skyward Sword is definitely a lot more lighter in its way, in the way it presents its themes. Mm-hmm. Except towards the end, it gets a little bit darker. But yeah, I totally recommend Twilight Princess HD. Right. It is so great. There's a little bias in there because
it was my first real
Zelda game. But I think objectively, it's still really great.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Pokken Tournament. It is not Tekken.
Not Tekken.
Fuck this game.
So what's interesting about Pokken Tournament is it was announced 2 years ago.
I forgot about it. They made the arcade version, right? In Japan.
Yeah, I'll get to that. So, basically, when X and Y came out, they had, this demo reel of, Pokemon through the years, because, X and Y coming out, that was a big deal for them.
Right.
But the reel ended with a picture of Pokken Tournament, and Lucario and Blaziken just kind of getting ready. And people were like, what the fuck was that? What was that thing in the demo reel? And Nintendo was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who put that there. What the hell is he talking about? And then we didn't hear about it for another year and a half. And then, Pokken Tournament. It's a fighting game made by the people who made Tekken. And it's coming to arcades. And
right.
People were like, what? You can't do that. But then they showed the controller for the arcade version, and it was just...
It's the most simple fighting pad I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
it's just a D-pad and, 4 buttons.
Yeah, it's an N64 controller,
It's really basic.
So then people were like, okay, it's coming to the Wii U. And Nintendo was all like, yeah, maybe not. Who knows, man? Life is crazy. And then it came to the Wii U. And it's fun.
It's fun.
I don't know what else to say about it.
Right, because you're not a fighting game expert.
I really do not like fighting games. They're just not my thing. I like playing them with friends, but...
The weirdest thing about this game,
yeah.
I know a bit about it. So, it is a 3D fighting game.
Yes.
But there are phases... So, if you get close combat, you enter into a almost Tekken-esque fighting stance.
You enter the 2D plane, yeah.
Right. You can only move up and down, and if you get out of the range, then you're in this open field again.
Basically, how it works is if you hit your opponent with a special kind of attack, the field will change into that 2D plane.
Right.
And then if one of you guys do the other attack, it'll switch back to the old one.
3D plane, yes.
So basically, the 2D plane is the one where it's a lot close quarters, so you got to be more cautious.
More traditional as well.
Yeah, but then the 3D plane is where you have to get your distance and basically attack from the distance, which is super interesting idea, and I think it works really well in the game. Mm-hmm. The transition, it moves very well. You don't really notice when it happens, except for the huge logo on the side that's face shift. Whoa.
Yeah, right.
Other than that, the gameplay is very solid. You have all the Pokemon have their own unique moves that are individual to them. That all make sense to them.
You have assist characters as well, a la Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
Esque.
And you get to choose them in between fights, too, which is super cool.
Right, there's 2, right?
You get to choose 2, and you get to choose which one is best for each situation, which is super thoughtful.
It is also weird. I'm going to give it to them. They actually they tried something different.
Yeah. I think the main thing about this game is it was all about trying something new. Because the main complaint I hear from other fighting game fans is that there's really no one to play as. Because it has a very short roster. It only has 15 characters.
Right.
Including Luchador Pikachu and Shadow Mewtwo, which are 2 they both play completely differently. I've played as them both, but it still feels different. But it still feels like they're just, having the same character. And, there's 721 Pokemon, so you think they could.
That's true. You got quite a bit of...
They had a lot to work with there, yeah. I mean, it's definitely better to have, a small, very, clean roster than have, a bunch of people and have a character to be very broken or a character being very weak. And that's definitely not the case here. All the characters you play as are very different. I love how they had Chandelure in that mix, the Chandelure Pokemon, who actually works super well, and he moves very fluidly, and it makes the way he fights makes sense for him, and it doesn't seem weird for when he's fighting a Pokemon that stands on 2 legs.
Right, because that's this is the weird one,
yeah.
So I played a fight or 2 in this game, and so the things I've noticed is that I would compare it to a mixture of the Naruto Cyber Connect games and Tekken.
Definitely,
it's kind of like the hybrid of those 2. That's what it feels like.
Yes,
but also one of my things I don't like about the game is I feel like it's missing heart. I feel like it's missing that Pokemon heart. It reminds me of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. In terms of the way it's presented, feels very blah. It just feels kind of here's a weird futuristic thing. It doesn't. Do you know what I'm saying? It's missing that kind of Pokemon cuteness or heart or warmth.
Because they really, when they made the models for the Pokemon, they try to make them look as intense as possible. And as hyper realistic as possible. And for some of them, it looks really weird. Suicune looks terrifying, and Gengar looks ancient. Gengar, yeah.
Gengar.
But when you play through the tutorial, it has this whole thing of you connect with your Pokemon, and you're connected on an emotional level with them, and that's how you fight with them. So it kind of adds that emotional aspect in there. I think it's definitely. It definitely doesn't do it as well as the traditional Pokemon games do, but what are you gonna do? People have been wanting a game like this forever.
I guess so.
I don't think it could have been made where it had that same kind of charm.
I guess so. That's a good point. I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't feel like a Pokemon game to me.
It definitely doesn't. But
it's just aesthetically.
As someone who's played all of them, I definitely, when playing as the Pokemon and seeing their moves, I definitely see oh, that's Fire Spin or that's Aura Sphere. And I see moves that correlate directly to Pokemon and their own personalities. So there's a lot of thought put into that, really.
So, I mean, yeah, you can't really go into the mechanics and stuff because you're not fighting game, but it looks fine.
My main complaints are the amiibo support is garbage.
Is it really? I didn't understand it.
You tap in an amiibo and you can tap in up to 5 amiibos a day, and you unlock a thing. It's usually just a title for your trainer.
That sounds...
So basically, when you're playing online, you can be Novice Trainer Ryan or Hot-Headed Trainer Ryan. But the ones you unlock are really fucking stupid. I got Blaziken's Bud Ryan. What the fuck does that mean? Why would I go online telling people my bud is a flaming chicken?
I don't know.
It's super annoying. And also, it's really expensive to buy items. The trainer customization is super in-depth, but it seems to cost a lot of money. So you have to really be playing.
So the in-game currency is kind of.
I think so, and also I feel because I don't play fighting games, I have this weird feeling with them when they track my stats, and that game is constantly tracking your stats. Whenever you enter a fight, you always see your win percentage.
That's a thing. That's a fighting game.
I know, but that makes me so nervous because if I lose one battle, it is permanently broken.
Yeah, that's a fighting game thing.
And that stresses me the fuck out.
Is there no non-ranked mode?
No.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't think so, at least.
I don't know. So let's not...
Whenever you go online, the non-ranked mode, it still counts everything. It just... I don't know. It's weird. I haven't played a lot of it because it made me feel very tense. At least the online stuff. I played a bit of the single player. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I would recommend it to a Pokemon fan.
I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't know who this game is really for.
I think if you love fighting games and for some reason you have a Wii U,
yeah, it's true. If you're interested,
you should definitely.
It's more if you're curious. Yeah,
yeah, but it's like I don't know. It's definitely not for hardcore Pokemon fans. I don't think.
Yeah,
unless you're as hardcore as me and you'll buy anything that has their name on them. But then again, you shouldn't be like me in that regard.
Yeah,
that's sad.
It's fine. It sounds like
it's a good game.
Right.
It's not really one for me. But for what it does, I think it's pretty solid.
They made a solid fighting game.
Yeah. Took
All right, Ryan.
but...
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley!
Tell me this game.
This is the game.
This is Harvest Moon.
This is the Harvest Moon of video games. Basically... Wait, what? Basically, I had no idea this was even a thing. I was just on YouTube and I saw a bunch of people were uploading videos of it. And I was like, what is this? And I checked them out and I was like, holy crap, this is Harvest Moon. But this is classic Harvest Moon that I remember. So if you don't know anything about Harvest Moon, they're like super classic farming simulators. Mm-hmm. But they're a lot more interesting than that for whatever reason because of the way the game presents itself.
There's an interaction between you and like the village, I believe.
The characters.
Like the people who inhabit the town you live in. There is an interaction there.
Yeah, not my pause. Mm-hmm. The game it came out and it was just... It got universal praise from people because people fell in love with it because there really hasn't been a good Harvest Moon game in years.
There has been middling games. They're like, yeah, this is fine.
This has been the best Harvest Moon game for the last few
It's also
years.
a one-man joint, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's just one guy.
Yeah.
And he's still updating it,
he's still updating,
which is amazing.
And I'd imagine he'd probably keep doing it because it's...
Oh, yeah, he's still helping people out.
It makes sense.
But, yeah, it came out, and it's just so cool.
It's a really good Harvest Moon game is what it looks like.
Yeah, and it also changes a lot of stuff too. There's a lot of dungeon mechanics in it, and there's changes to the way you become friends with the villagers that really help simplify things. Mm-hmm. And other than that, it's pretty much your standard classic Harvest Moon. I'd say Friends of Mineral Town or Harvest Moon on the Super Nintendo. Those kind of ones.
Yeah, and I think it's a really... I saw a little bit of it's a really fucking polished
It's super
game.
polished.
And I was like, this is a one-man game. Looks really fucking good.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of interesting details like that.
It's an old... It's like a 16-bit looking game. Maybe even 32-bit, because it looks... The pixel art and, it's really pretty. It's a really pretty beautiful game. I don't know why I was never been... very fascinated with the Nats. I don't know why. The Natsume Harvest Moon games have never grabbed me, but for some reason, this game grabs me in a way that I don't know. It's just... I don't know why.
It's definitely...
The art style looks really good.
It takes the best parts of those games and then adds to them.
Right. Someone who understands those games and being like, all right, let me distill it into the best parts of that series.
And then what it does, too, is it really... what the new Harvest Moon games have done that have been made them really not so great is that they've really delayed your progress. So things that you could usually do within a year in the game time, it took you 3 in the newer ones.
That's interesting. Okay.
Because I remember I was playing the last real Harvest Moon game. I think it was called A New Beginning, and in the game you couldn't. Basically, a huge thing is dating and romance,
right?
And in Stardew Valley, that actually has actual benefits for your characters instead of just being a pure marriage thing. But in A New Beginning, Harvest Moon, in order to get married, you had to go on vacation, and you had to wait at least 2 years in the game. Mm-hmm. And plus, in that game, you had to unlock villagers. So if there was someone who you knew you wanted to marry, you would have to go through the procedure of unlocking them. And for a lot of people, the characters that were the most interesting were the ones that you unlocked later because of it'd be a progressive thing. So you could be playing the game for like 4 in-game years, and then you're finally at the point where you find someone who you want to marry, and that takes forever.
It elongated the game in a really bad way.
In a bad game. But with Stardew Valley, everything, all the people, all the villagers are there right away. You can start interacting with them and giving them gifts right away. They all give you like clues as to what kind of stuff they like. So in the game, I married a girl called Abigail. She has purple hair. She's beautiful.
I know who this is, yes.
And you basically learn about her from like her parents and like her friends that she hangs out with. And you can like find out what she likes and all that stuff. And the other like really interesting thing about the marriage mechanic that I really think is cool, after you get married, they move their stuff into your house. Which is like a thing that I've never seen another game that's had a marriage mechanic do.
Interesting. So you're actually living together.
Yeah, you like actually live together, and like she'll make you breakfast every once in a while. She'll occasionally like water the crops or like feed the animals or make you breakfast, and then they'll always kiss you good morning and good night.
This is weird.
It's a lot of weird like little touches to that mechanic that really make it a lot more interesting. But other than that, all the other mechanics in there are pretty solid. Like, the farming is super simplified because you can progressively unlock automatic watering system.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to go through the effort of watering everything every morning. You can just wake up and it's automatically watered. And you actually have to work towards that, but it's not, like, so difficult that it is almost unobtainable. And there's also the dungeon which you have to go to. It's required, basically, and you go there and you unlock other things for the village, too. There's, I don't know, there's a lot to it. I think, watch some gameplay of it, and I think that's going to tell you whether or not you like it.
Right, yeah, because it's not like breaking ground.
No.
It's just a really good Harvest Moon-inspired video game.
It's just the best Harvest Moon game that's been made in 15 years.
So, yeah, if you've been waiting for a damn good-ass Harvest Moon game, this is probably the best one.
Yeah, and if you're unsure, watch some gameplay on it. And if you binge buy it like I do, then you will definitely love it.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a binge game. It's not, I don't know. Farming games have never been my thing. I've tried to get into Harvest Moon, and I really don't want to get into them. I don't know why. Just
They can suck away a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like with Animal Crossing.
Real time sink, and that's not my jam. But it looks pretty damn good. It looks, if you're going to suck in your time into something, that looks like a high quality game.
For $15, it is great quality.
It's a really good
There's
game.
a lot to do in that. I've only played 34 hours, and I've beaten I've gone through the first year of the game, and there's still so much stuff to do.
And it sounds like the creator's going to be adding more stuff as he goes as well.
Oh, and I totally forgot, like, the main mechanic of it is you move into this town after you give up your life working for, like, a huge corporation.
Right.
And the huge corporation is trying to take over the town and basically, like, build a warehouse. And you have to basically try to choose
between your grandfather's farm,
or basically the way it works in the game is there's this community center that
of course, yes, that they want to tear down.
That they want to tear down in order to make a warehouse. Yeah, that classic story.
Oh, okay.
And you can choose to either do the like difficult like achievements to repair the community center, and you'll also get benefits from that. Or if you given to the corporation, you basically buy all the upgrades for the town through them. But then, like, the town's spirit is gone or whatever.
Okay.
So that's, like... So there's a bit of choice there in that, too. And also, my last thing about this game is it's constantly being, like, nature's the thing. Get out there and be one with nature. Fuck society.
Fuck this video
Everyone...
game.
Wait, no. Keep playing this video game, but nature is where it's at. It's such a weird message to be telling your player who's played who's in their house playing the video game. I mean, it works for the world. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, you'd imagine he is a creator, so he'd have to be. There's some inspiration there. You have to get.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. That's just something humorous. I thought when I was playing it. Other than that, yeah, I definitely would give it a try.
Looks like a damn good game.
Yep.
So, there's only been one game I've been messing around with. I've been messing around with Mega Man Legacy Collection. I purchased the physical copy, which is an assortment of Mega Man 1 through 6 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And it is the absolute best way to play those games. They look pixel perfect. They look better than what they did in the NES. It looks fantastic. Highly recommend that if you're a Mega Man fan. But I've also been messing around with Cat Lateral Damage. It is a game. I'll probably write a post on this on my blog later, but it is a game where you play as a cat and you just do cat things.
That's it?
That's the game.
Oh, wow.
It's not very good.
Oh.
But that's the thing I've been playing.
Cats?
That's the thing I've been playing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's all I've been playing. I've been in a mood where I've been desperately trying to find something to play, but there's nothing coming out that's new, that's grabbing me, that's worth my time, I feel. So yeah, that's March. Ryan, you played a lot of the few games that did come out.
I actually played games this month, which is weird.
Yeah. April has a lot of games that I'm super hyped about. We got Dark Souls 3, after Bloodborne.
Dank Souls, as
Dank
the kids
Souls
call
3, the dankest, darkest nugs. But yeah, so Dark Souls 3 has a director of Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1, so this is kind of actually Dark Souls 2. I know nothing about Dark Souls, but I love Bloodborne and I want more of it, so I will play Dark Souls 3. Even though it's a little bit slower and a little bit more cumbersome than Bloodborne. But I will play it because I looked at the footage for that game. That game looks exactly like Bloodborne. Those games are exactly the same almost. We got Ratchet and Clank, which I am so fucking excited for this game.
Yeah.
It looks incredible.
It looks great.
I played that game and I was like, this is that fucking first game, but in a way I would never imagine it looking.
It looks just like the movie.
It looks like the movie, and it also, but again, as someone who played that original game and is really attached to that first game, it is a remake of that game, and it looks mind-blowing, like, incredible. Like, my young self could not have imagined that game ever looking that good. It is amazing. I think, like, that game is criminally, I really hope that game comes out, and it just blows everyone away. It looks incredible. Can't wait. We got Alien Nation, which is the next game by Housemarque, who made, Resogun and Dead Nation. I'm really more excited for this game because those games are arcade shooting games. They don't take a lot of thought, and I like to play those games while I'm listening to podcasts or stuff. Those are pretty much games I put in the background while I'm listening to something because I need something to do while doing it. That's really what I'm excited for that game. You play as aliens, you shoot them. I mean, you are someone and you shoot aliens. That's
nice.
it. Yeah, it's a twin-stick shooter. It's nothing mind-blowing, but they do pretty damn good types of those games. Star Fox Zero, which I completely forgot came out until recently. I think I'm gonna play it. I have it pre-ordered.
I probably won't.
Yeah, you don't like Star Fox.
I don't. I tried Star Fox 64 as a kid. I had it and I never got into it. And I thought, this is kind of stupid. Obviously, that was like a 6-year-old saying that. But I picked it up again for the 3DS re-release, and I was like, this still isn't my thing.
I've never played a Star Fox game, so I don't know if it's my thing.
Oh, really?
No.
Wow.
I mean, I played the original on the SNES.
Oh, wow, that one.
But I played that after, like, when I was, like, 18, so...
Wow.
At that point, I was like, this is cool, but the frame rate is too slow, and I don't really want to play this. So, I hope Star Fox is good. My number one game is Ratchet & Clank. It comes out the same day as Dark Souls 3, so that's not great. But, yeah. I'm so excited for Ratchet & Clank. Holy fucking shit. Can't wait for that game. So yeah, that is a wrap, I believe.
I think that's it.
We've had a lot of good games coming out next month. Not a lot, unless you like The Division again, which we didn't.
No.
There wasn't a lot this month. Big news, a lot of big news. It sounds like it's going to be a wild E3. Of course, we will be following up with this stuff as the year goes on. So yeah, like I said, I'll probably write up something about Cat Lateral Damage and some other stuff I've been playing. You can find that at jcruzalvarez.tumblr.com. If you're into that, you can read that. I also wanted to give a quick shout out because video games are cool and all, but maybe you should read a book. You know, you go out there, you grab a book and you read it and you take in that knowledge. So I'm gonna give a shout out to a book that's about video games. So Kara Ellison is this writer. She's does some consulting on video game narrative. In 2014, she run a Patreon that was like, hey, if you fund this thing, I'm going to go around the world and live with game developers for about a week and just write about them. Just whatever happens, I'll write about them, talk about their inspirations and stuff. And it is a damn good read. Really good stuff. There's an interview there she hangs out with Nina Freeman, who made Sybil and Freshman Year. And it is incredible read. It is fucking awesome read. Really good stuff about how game developers think and the process of making a game.
A little bit like Indie Game the Movie?
Kind of, yeah. I would say it's definitely like that. Kara Ellison's writing, the way she writes, definitely talks about her sexuality and, like,
wow,
I don't know, stuff like that. It's a very good read. If you want a different perspective about video games, I'd really recommend it. Again, it's called In Bed with Games by Kara Ellison. You can find it on Amazon. It's a really good read. So maybe read a book. Stop playing video games. I don't fucking know. Read about video games.
Yeah, fuck you.
And then play video games. And then watch about video games. Just consume all the video games.
Go out into nature, play some video games, read a book about video games. Fuck it.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm George.
I'm Ryan.
Have a good day.
Video games.